Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Late Night on Base. I'm your boy, Bill the fucking Bull, back at it again. Dude, this time I'm stoked, man. I'm really excited to have Shina Inu, the Shina Inu family, the community on. I go way back with these guys. 2022, I remember hopping in and just enjoying the ride. And here we are today on the precipice of what I think is going to be a sleeper. I don't think many people know about it, but I think the potential is there that this thing could become a household name. I'm bullish, and I'm excited to kind of have them share what's going on. So, Ryz, Dan, how are you guys doing today, my friends?
I'm doing good. Excited.
Yeah, same. Pumped up for the bull market.
Bro, we're here. Bitcoin's just breaking all-time highs. Yeah. Coinbase is now trending #1. You could just see, like, it's still not headline news, right? So I think the excitement is there, and I think the alt season that we've all been waiting for is right around the corner.
Yeah.
Bitcoin dominance is about to fall off a cliff, and that money has got to go somewhere. And I think especially OG memes on ETH are going to fucking go parabolic. And I think it just takes a little bit for especially to just get lit. And when it goes off, I think it's just going to go on a massive run. So both of you guys, Dan and Ryz, obviously I know who you guys are. Some of the most OG supporters, biggest whales. I mean, Dan, you are the biggest whale in Shina. But I know who you guys are. But for those listening on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, coming across Shina Inu for the very first time, got to ask you guys, if you don't mind, explain to us, what is Shina Inu?
I guess I'll take this one. So for me, the heart of this project is using DeFi to support charitable causes using incentives. As you and your listeners know, incentives are what makes DeFi work. If you don't have miners or validators earning fees for transactions, there's no blockchain, right? Or at least it wouldn't be decentralized. So basically what they've done is they've created an incentive system to support charity. So that in a nutshell is Shina Inu to me.
What about you, Dan? What's Shina Inu to you?
Yeah, the charity burn mechanism is, as you know, we've already done a lot in the community standpoint of it, and it's a big part of it for me as well. And I mean, the biggest part of it for me really is the chase, man. It's the breadcrumbs, the connections, everything the team has left behind at this point for us to just search and chase and find and, get to the next level and working as a community to do it. I mean, that's the most important thing. I mean, the community is just everything to me at this point,
Absolutely. From the outside as well, obviously I'm not in it day to day as much as you guys are, but I am a OG holder. I still hold a significant portion. Now, for me, for those that don't understand, what excites me a lot is the lore. Obviously, the charity burn mechanism is fantastic. I know that's going to take off, but to me, if everything comes together, and we're going to talk about the lore because I want to go into depth. The key is 2021, Shiba Inu came out and took the world by storm. I don't know what it hit, 50, 75 billion, whatever. And basically, you've created millions of people in that world. Shina Inu, there's so many breadcrumbs, and I want my viewers to understand, there's so many breadcrumbs that are suggesting, again, not proven yet, but are suggesting that Shib and Shina are going to marry one another. That's going to be kind of like its wife. And if that happens, and the breadcrumbs have shown it, it's not just complete speculation. If that happens, multi-billion-dollar coin Shina Inu is. So I want to ask you guys, let's talk about the breadcrumbs. Let's talk about, what resonates with you guys the most. Dan, let me ask you, talk to me, which of the breadcrumbs that have been left behind is the strongest to you that you believe Shib and Shina are going to be together?
So we got breadcrumbs that go all the way back to 2022. I mean, we've really dived so deep into this, for the last 3 years that there's so many breadcrumbs at this point. Every time a new one comes out, it almost gets more bullish and more bullish. And in the beginning, maybe some were forced, right? Like a community always forces breadcrumbs at a certain point. Oh, I see this, and if you put this together and you tie this together, and there's definitely some of those, right? So you can't go through, you can't look at every breadcrumb and say, all right, this is definitely a tie. But I would say over the last, since Eat Toronto, I want to say, what was that? 23, right? Eat
With the
Toronto.
tickets.
Yeah.
Shib
Yeah.
girlfriend.
I got personally, I was inside the Shib Discord and I was just randomly talking and whatnot. And, I said something like, because I was planning on going to Eat Toronto with two of my friends because we wanted to see if there was any, link to Sheena there or whatnot. And I just randomly said in the chat, I said, pumped for Eat Toronto and Shaitoshi, which this was really common of Shaitoshi. He always, for some reason, anytime I would write in like one of the Shib telegrams or Shib discords or something, he would always react to my messages. And that's prior to 2023. That's just a year's worth of just interaction between me and him, and different things that I've asked him and that he wouldn't answer. But this was one of the biggest things for me. Was when I mentioned in there, yeah, I'm interested in going to I'm pumped to go to Eat Toronto, see what's going on there. And he immediately wrote in the Shib Discord, do you have tickets yet? And I said, no, I don't have tickets yet. I'm waiting to see which one of my friends are going to go before I purchase. He said, I got extra tickets. Hit up Lucci. I said, cool. So I immediately spoke to my friends. I said, I got free tickets. I said, we're going. I'll pay for the flights. I don't give a shit. We're all going, And so I booked the flights and I hit them up, and they gave me 2 free tickets. So when I was inside the Shib, you had to go to their ticket department to get the tickets. So I had to contact her in the ticket department, and I said, Shaitoshi said you had 2 tickets for me, and she said, the conversation went, it's in the telegram, pretty much just how many tickets you need. And I said 2. And, I asked if it was the VIP tickets or whatnot, and it was just the regular tickets. So then, she sends me the codes to the tickets. And at first I didn't even realize one of the tickets, in order to get the tickets, you had to enter a code into the website that was like, to access the tickets.
Sure.
So when I put the original codes in, they gave me 2 codes. One was Shib GF 44, which in our eyes is Shib's girlfriend 44, and 44 has some type of meaning to Sheena as well. It's always been had some background in regards to Sheena when it came to burns, and also what was the 44 thing, Ryz, again?
Well, I think at some point someone brought up that 4 represented she. That was like the name, or the how you say she in Chinese. I forget if it's Japanese or Chinese, but there was something with that.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was it. If you put like 44 in and searching, and I think it was Japanese, it was either Japanese, Chinese, it does mean she. So that just got us extremely bullish. And, even that at that point, me going into Eat Toronto, everyone was already pumped up in the chat. I mean, I think we seen, 25, 30 million that day in a market cap. We had a huge bump going into Eat Toronto, even though at the same point, it was a little bit of a letdown going into it because nothing happened at the end of the day. And, that was one of the biggest breadcrumbs until recently, which is the Shiba swap breadcrumb.
Before we get into the Shiba swap, because I do want to highlight that, Ryz, let me ask you, what was the biggest breadcrumb for you that has made you so convinced that Shib and She are going to end up together?
It's just the synchronicities of events. And basically, so Sheena has been, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the website was purchased on April 19th of 2021. That was before Ryoshi had ever mentioned there being an idea for a She stablecoin. And it was before Shib had its big run. So when you're thinking about it in terms of like meme coins, if you wanted to LARP off of a meme coin and ride its coattails, wouldn't have October been the perfect time to launch? And they didn't do that. They waited until February of the following year. So for me, it just shows that there's something else going on. Like there's a long-term strategy here just by the way that the team operates. You know, they're very silent, very secretive. But again, like what Dan's saying, all these strange synchronicities with the passwords and the Shiba swap ad, it does seem to hint that there's a relationship. So, I mean, off the top of my head, though, it's just, you know, the timeline of events is just very interesting to me.
Yeah, I think also for me, especially the Valentine's video was something that I think was really interesting. Where if you at the end, there's like a frame, and what was it again? It said something about. I mean, what was it, Dan, that they connected the two at the end? If you like freeze the frame, right?
Yeah. So what the exact frame say again, Riz? It said
Oh, that was the
date.
Valentine's Day. It was
Yeah.
2/28/22, right? So that was the date that we found out that liquidity was added to Uniswap. Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good one.
I remember that one, and then I just remember thinking, man, and also didn't they burn like or they added or burned some liquidity, like a significant amount because of some like initially the dump, or they added to it or
Yeah.
done something.
The team has probably got in the realm of six figures invested into the project from the initial liquidity pool in Uniswap and then the buyback and the burn. Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. It's like they're obviously committed to this, and that's one of the things that's kept me around for so long.
The
Yeah.
buyback was 30 ETH at that time, which was around I think ETH was around like 2,700, 2,900 at that point. It was around like a little under $100,000 buy and then burn.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that stand out to me about Sheena is the female narrative. First of all, the art, the branding is on point. It's just the same quality as Shib, if not better. It's that professional look, but it's also there has to be a female coin that females resonate to. I'm just telling you right now, and I think Shib or Sheena has that special sauce. And for those real quick that don't know, Shaitoshi, as Dan was referencing, is the lead dev, right, of Shib currently.
Yeah. Yeah. He took over after Ryoshi.
So the breadcrumb, if for viewers to be reminded, the lead developer who took over for Shib gave Dan tickets to the conference using the promo code ShibGirlfriend44. Not a coincidence. He's had many times to disprove what's going on. People in his Telegram have asked. Let me ask you, Dan, before we get into the ads, there's been a lot of people in the Shib community that hate Sheena. Some administrators, some this. They always try to denounce it. They probably don't know what's going on. Why do you think people get so angry when you guys mention Sheena?
Listen, if someone was to like LARP Sheena right now, I'd probably do the same fucking thing, you know? So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't know, what else are you going to do except go into defense mode, right? Like, and the same with the Shib moderators, Shaitoshi and Cal don't tell them anything. You know what I'm saying? It's the same with like Sheena. Like, Sheena doesn't tell us anything, you know, until we're ready to know. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's just their job. And that's what I think it is. I mean, some of them are extremely nice to me, and some of them are extremely nice to our community. And just some of them are definitely cold-hearted to it, and they think it's a LARP and they think it's a scam. And, you know, a lot of the early on mods that used to put up bigger fights with us are gone. They were all fired, you know. And even after some of the stuff that happened back then, you know, like Trophius and stuff like that, I mean, it was all put to an end instantly. You know, when they called us out, Sheena went in their chat and said, I don't know what you're talking about, but, you know, pretty much you better, you know, this isn't the case. And they took down the post. And, you know, someone was definitely talking to them in the background saying, take that down. And because they never do that. If the Shib team calls you out for a scam, you're a scam, and you're a scam for life. But that hasn't been the case with us. It's totally the opposite. I say it all the time in the Sheena chat. I do these contests all the time just to like give money away to people and stuff. And my main part of the contest is I always add Shaitoshi in it, you know, and I'll say follow Shaitoshi in order to be a part of the contest. This guy's got, I mean, my one thing alone had like 60,000, you know, hits on it or whatever. I mean, he's got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of notifications from Sheena in his notification bar from the whole community, you know, and still at this point, like you said, he's never turned around and said, even when he's been asked point blank, because there's 2 breadcrumbs that he's asked point blank. One from this gentleman named, what was the chicken guy's name, Riz? He had the chicken.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name, but right.
Eric
when he
something, maybe?
something. So when he had asked Shaitoshi, can you please just put this to rest? Like just
Yep.
tell people to stop buying this coin. Like can you prove right now you're not affiliated with it? And his answer was nope.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And then the second time I got dragged into, I didn't get dragged in, I joined a small little Telegram group. Someone in our group said, Dan, you got to get in here. Shy's in here. There's only 15 of us. I was like, what? I said, get me in there right now. So we got in there and it was all shib heads and me, you know? And I was like, and all of a sudden I'm like, you know, like Shy's like, listen, you could ask any question you want, just not when. And I asked him, are you a part of the She that's out right now? Shina token. And he said, he pretty much said, I can't talk about this right now. This is something I can't talk about right now. You know, instead of just 15 people in there, just me and him bouncing off each other. I asked him multiple questions too. And I can't talk about it right now. He could have just easily said, no, you guys are the biggest scam ever. But there's other breadcrumbs that go back even deeper than that. He's had one-on-one conversations in DM with Dwayne, who is a community member of ours from China, and mysterious guy himself. Like even when I speak to him, it's very mysterious. He's a really good person, but he's from China, and you know, Shy followed him and was just, you know, one day he DM'd Shy and Shy answered on Twitter. And he said, you know, and he immediately DM'd me and he's like, yo, Shy's answering me. I was like, wait, hold on, let me put it. And I put this whole thing together, and you know, Shy pretty much said to him, give me an elevator pitch right now on Shina. It was the most like something that Shy would never do. And we put together, me and Riz, right? We put together a quick elevator pitch and we hit him with it. And he was impressed on it, but it wasn't that he was impressed. He already knew. Like, it was just him like giving us a bone. That's how I seen it, you know?
Interesting. So talk to me right now. The recent breadcrumb is the Shiba swap ads. Now explain to me the significance of that and why should we pay attention?
All right. So we're on Shiba Swap. Anybody can be on Shiba Swap, right? Anybody can, you know, can import their token and put it on Shiba Swap and use it to trade, and use it to buy or whatever they want to do, right? But that's not the fact of this, because anybody can do that, and anybody can get into the trending aspect of it as well. With transactions, you can trend on Shiba Swap in certain positions because there's not a lot of coins that are doing many transactions on Shiba Swap, so it's easy to trend if you want to trend on Shiba Swap in the trending section, right? But that's not what we're talking about. There's an ad section on the top header of Shiba Swap. And in that ad section, there's a button that you could click that says ads that usually would be so you could promote your coin, right? You can't click the button at all. So for about the last 6 months now, Shina's been trending in this ad section with Shib, Leash, Bone. There's a couple of there's like ETH. There's a couple of stables up there too. No other tokens besides Leash, Bone, Shib, and She. And it's been up there for 6 months. So we've questioned everybody. We've had it all over Twitter. We have it all over everywhere. We even went as far as requesting. Yeah, that's it.
Look at that.
They just added K9 up there, so you'll see that flash as well. And that was just added the other day.
And you're saying you can't like ask to be on this, right?
No, so that's where I'm getting to. We'll click the ads button. Can you click the ads button?
No,
right? You can't click it. You can't buy it. You can't do anything, right? So all right. So we say, all right, let's send an email to. They have a support department over there to the bottom left where you can send an email. So we went ahead and sent an email requesting that we'd like to be purchased the ad section, you know, above the underneath the overview of Shiba Swap, and we'd like to go ahead and put our token up there. And the email wrote back and said, at this point in time, that's not an option for us. We're not selling ad sections. You know, it's not even an option at this point. I don't know if Riz has the exact email in front of him, but it pretty much said you can't do it. So that just pretty much sealed the deal for us, telling us that you're not even able to buy the spot. It actually has to be done by one or two people, as far as we know. And we've had that conversation with a couple of people in regards to who controls it and whatnot. And supposedly that's controlled by the developers, which is Shy or Cal.
So again, for those viewers, I want you to digest what Dan has just said. That is a huge breadcrumb. Shiba Swap has tokens on their ad section, and they only select a few. However, you can't pay to put your ad there. It's not like Dex Screener or Dex Schools or whatever. He got confirmation from the email they're not selling spots. Yet, out of the thousands and thousands and thousands of projects out there, and they only list like 7 or 8, one of them is Shina Inu.
Yeah.
I am fascinated by that because I knew a little bit about it, but I haven't been following recently. Obviously, I haven't been as active because I've been pushing this podcast. But I've heard breadcrumbs about it. You telling me right now is super massive. That is extremely big because they had no reason to do that. Wow. What was the community like when they found that out, Dan?
So it was random. We found it out just randomly. And, everybody, of course, you want to play devil's advocate at first. I'm like, all right, someone's paying for this. And of course, everybody looked at me because I usually pay for some things, And I said, listen, guys, this ain't got nothing to do with me. There is no way you could pay. If I could pay, I would pay it if I could. I said, you can't. There's no way you could get up there. I tried everything. So we immediately started talking to some Shib mods, like Maz, and we immediately brought it to a couple other ones, and even the answers I got for them, they were like, well, it's transactional. It was transactional based. And I said to Maz, Maz, how is it we have no transactions. Yeah. Our Shiba Swap transactions today are 1. There is tokens that have 300-400 more transactions than us today, and they're not up there. I said, it doesn't make any sense. I said, and even if that was the case, then it would change, right? It would change daily. If our transactions were high that day, it would be up there and it would change, and someone else would go up there. It hasn't changed. It hasn't moved until recently. So about a week ago, someone noticed that it wasn't up there anymore, and they added K9. And I was like, what the? So I'm like, okay, someone's pushing a button here. It's obvious because it's not like K9 has crazy volume either, So it was obvious that someone is putting these things up there and taking them down and whatnot. So everybody in the community was like, oh, what's going on? Why is it down? And we didn't have an answer for it. Nobody has it because no one has an answer for why it's up there except that Shy or someone in the team is trying to tell us something, right?
Yeah.
But then yesterday, it was back up there again. So it's just so random. And now it's been up there for like 2-3 days, I think. It was either yesterday or the day before. I've seen it back up there. And it's been back up there for like 2-3 days. Like they're just like, here you go. Here again. Here. We're telling you, we're clicking the switch, realize what's going on. But there's still you're fighting against, like I said, there's a lot of moderators out there. There's a lot of people that don't know what's going on. So it's very hard to show people what's going on. When people are in the background saying, no, it's not true. Well, then explain it to me. No one could explain it. That's the best part.
Yeah, no, I think there's something going on in the background that, again, they wouldn't just be putting you guys up there for no reason.
Yeah.
And before I get into normally these podcasts, I like to end around 25 minutes, but for Shina I'm going to extend it because there's a lot more to digest. And I think the community really needs to know, and I think new people need to know what's going on. So we're going to talk about the charity burn mechanism.
Yeah.
Ryz. But before that, I do have a couple questions because, for me, and for most people, the chart is what matters. And I know a lot of people, this project's been out since 2022. The end of the bear market or end of the bull market is when this thing came up, and it's had a crazy ride. But this, for those that aren't familiar with charts, this is a beautiful fucking chart. Beautiful. Every move has a wave 3 move. This has had, yes, it's had a little deviation. But if you guys have not seen what SPX 6900's done, this is what happens. And I'm not saying, this is what I think is going to happen. Personally, again, not financial advice, I think this is going to happen. Boom. If the moment there's confirmation by any sense, you're going to have however many holders of SHIB know who Shina is, if there's ever official confirmation, the Shib community is going to race to get the next Shib, which is Shina. And I think people are going to take that by surprise. Dan and Ryz, I want to ask you guys this because there's been a period. I think Toronto was like here, and then there was a sell off, and it's been like dead since.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
the
yeah. Is that
August
October?
August 23. I
Yeah,
remember
August.
that
Yeah, yeah,
room.
August.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was a sell off. Let me ask you guys this because I know a lot of people there, the vibe has been down. A lot of people who have been supporters have kind of like left or been have animosity, this and that. How do you two have the still the confidence and the optimism that you do, and you didn't let the bad news affect you? So, Riz, why don't you answer that one? How did you handle all the disappointing news? Obviously the charity burn mechanism has been constantly delayed.
Mm-hmm.
In your heart, how do you reconcile the two and still remain so optimistic?
Sure. Well, I think number one, understanding the value proposition of it and how different it is from anything else that's out there. And number two, having the evidence that the work has been done. We do have the CBM beta code. And actually, right now, we have someone in the community with a coding background who's going to deploy that on mainnet for us in the interim. So we're going to have staking really soon. If you can pull that together. But again, the code is there. You can't fake that. You can't fake the level of detail in the white paper. All right. It's like I recommend that everyone take the time and read every single word of that and understand what they're trying to do. And that's why I started this conversation with, regardless of the SHIB lore and the connections, which we all get hype about, I've come more so to appreciate the heart of the project as being charity and the insane bullishness around this platform. And regardless of when, for me, it's all about what. So if you can wrap your mind around how big this is, I mean, like charity is a huge part of the GDP. I mean, there are, I think that the stats were $500 billion a year for the past few years have been donated to charity with no incentives. Now, out of that, I think it's around 2 billion in crypto. So you have crypto donations going on as we speak. There's an entire industry built around facilitating crypto donations. So now here's the next piece to the puzzle is you have a platform that is the DeFi version of a 50-50 charitable lottery. And if you're familiar with that real life concept, I mean, there's a whole industry around that. There are actually software platforms already available for charities to facilitate 50-50s. It's a big part, it's very lucrative for them. The problem with the existing software that's out there, number one, it's fiat based. Number two, there's geographic and legal limitations around it. So when you bring this onto the blockchain, it opens so many doors. It gets around a lot of legal red tape because in this instance, the charity is no longer selling tickets, which you have to obtain a license to do. You can't just decide one day, I'm going to run a lottery and start selling lottery tickets. You can't do that. So it takes them actually out of the middle. The only thing that they need, and what I believe anyone can set up for them, is an Ethereum wallet. So once you have that, it's plug and play, and they can just start raking in donations. The other thing too that's really smart about, bringing in SHIB into this whole thing is the fact that it's a top 10 cryptocurrency. So the charity doesn't need to spend on marketing for this like they would if they were going to, go forward with a lottery today. You already have a bunch of SHIB holders that are looking for a utility that incorporates burns, and that's exactly what this does. In fact, to my knowledge, it's the only platform proposed that gives SHIB a direct use case. I don't know of anything on Shibarium that does that. They're talking about doing burns from transactions. Great. But here's something where you can take your SHIB and you can stake it in a lottery system and support charity in the process while burning tokens without losing your tokens. It's insanely brilliant, in my opinion. I haven't seen anything else that impresses me to this level. So that ultimately, yes, I'm disappointed by the delays, but Rome wasn't built in a day. I don't know what else is needed, what type of infrastructure they need to actually release this thing. When you look at the team's past tweets, they make a lot of, they're not like other teams as far as meme coins go, they're not trying to pump the price. When you look at the tweets that Shy Guy has made in the past, it's all about creating solutions, helping people dealing with inflation, supporting charity. They're really profound statements if you really take the time to process what he's saying. And I would even go to, it sounds to me like they're doing something even bigger than this, as big as this is. And this is huge to me, but it sounds like there's more, because he made a post one time and he said, we're building the scaffolding for the future of finance. That's not the CBM. So maybe there's something else that they have to lay the groundwork for before they officially release the CBM. And if this is as massive as we think it is, I can understand delays. Now, I wish they would help us out and give us some explanations. I mean, that would be nice. But again, they're obviously not concerned with pumping the price of the token. They've made it very clear through their words and actions that they have a long-term vision. Again, going back to April 19th of 2021 when they purchased the website and didn't release the token until a year later. I mean, who does that with a meme coin? So I have enough evidence personally to feel secure in my investment. And, I just believe so much in what they're doing that I can manage the disappointment that way. I can manage it and be like, okay, you know what? Most businesses don't even get off the ground in 3 to 5 years, or even profitable in like 5 years. So, we're in this mindset with crypto where we want instant gratification. And Shina is not that project. Unfortunately, we would love it to be, but I think I think they're more concerned with quality, if I had to guess. And if this is just speculation, but if they had to pitch this to a reputable 501c3 nonprofit organization, or someone like the Giving Block, which is an organization that helps charities receive crypto donations, you've got to have your shit together. You need to show that this thing has almost no chance of failure. If you're going to have millions of dollars pouring through this platform, you cannot afford to make a mistake. So that's the grace that I give the team. I just think it's so huge that, okay, what is more important than when for me?
Wow. That's powerful, bro. Powerful stuff. I mean, Dan, do you want to add anything to that? I mean, that's tough to follow up, but anything you want to add? How you remain committed and loyal to a project as actually the biggest whale in the community who actually gives back more than any other top individual in any project I've ever seen. How do you keep your spirits high?
I mean, listen, since day one, I treated Shina as like an investment into like a business, and that's how I treat my businesses I own now. I own multiple businesses, and in order to keep the businesses going, sometimes you got to invest into them. And, you hope the end outcome is great, right? Sometimes it's not, sometimes it is. But that's how I've always treated Shina as an investment. And, listen, we went to $50 million market cap, right? In early 23, right? Am I right? Early 23. And, that was without the team, right? That was just with breadcrumbs and community. And at that point, we raised $50,000 and we donated it to Shared Hope International. And that was all community right there. And, at this point, the community in my eyes is the backbone. And so it's one of those things where I just don't get even discouraged anymore. Even if, as much as I bitch to the team and I want this, I want that, and it goes on deaf ears, at the same point, like Ryz said, I know we got something big. And, even just how he was saying that the charity burn mechanism, Monarch, who's one of our base community members, and he's a web dev, and he's now branched into crypto dev because he's the only one we had to do it here, and he's smart enough to do it. He's a really bright kid. And, the team is speaking with him daily now and told him how to launch it. And it's like they want us to do these things. And, it's the definition of DeFi, right? Like, they want the community here. Here's the pieces. It's all built. You figure out how to connect it and put it together and launch it. And that's what they did. And we could have probably launched, 3 months ago, Riz, when the beta came out.
Well, the one component that we don't have yet is the rewards component, which is really interesting because they refer to it as having an off-chain component. And to me, that's kind of a vague term. So like, okay, off-chain, Bill, maybe you have more knowledge than me, but that could be anything outside of the layer one, right?
Yeah.
So that could be Shibarium. I don't know. That could be anything.
That's the hidden secret right now, the off-chain. So Monarch's going to launch the charity burn aspect of it without the off-chain right now. And we're thinking the team wants us to do this, and then they'll launch the off-chain version of it. And that's how, pretty much all the pieces go together. So they've built it. They built the everything on-chain. We're connecting it together, but we need the rewards part to get the final secret. That's most likely everything at the end of the day. That's where you really find out if there's a connection or not to SHIB, because most likely it's going to be some type of reward. If it's treat, we don't even know. Like you can speculate as much as you want, but nobody knows what it's going to be.
Yeah,
so,
I think. I'm sorry.
No, go.
No, I was just saying. I think at the end of the day, what potentially could be built is more than just important. I think it could be groundbreaking that every other project can use. It's good for the space. The innovation that they're trying to do is stuff like Vitalik would like to see.
Yeah,
I think it does take time. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. The way I look at it is we're gonna know one way or another by 2020, by 2025. The bull run's not gonna go on forever, and I feel that. I think most people will know the time is coming. It's going to either be affiliated or be released or not, or it was all LARP. I'm leaning on the side that it absolutely is affiliated with SHIB. Yeah. I'm affiliated that this charity bearer mechanism is something that the big time DeFi people are all knowing about, the big guys like the Vitaliks of the world. And they're just waiting for the right time. And I do feel that SHIB needs something to spark their community. Shiba Inu is, in a lot of people's eyes, kind of dead. They need to have the ability to basically showcase why they're worth so much. Doge is doing its thing. And I think what better way introducing the charity burn mechanism with Shina doing good for the world. It would excite their community. And as a result, it would obviously make generational wealth for most people in Shina Inu. Dan, I want to leave it last words to you. Any last words do you have for the Shina Inu community that's either in the community or those on the fence? Any last words?
I say it all the time. Shina is by far the safest token in the whole entire market in my eyes. And that's how I see it. I mean, just from the top wallets, the people that are putting in the time, the community, the foundation's been built. And, just like you said, with like SPX and stuff, and, it took a foundation. It took, you had to get rid of the traders. You had to get rid of all the people that were on thin out. You had to get rid of all of them, and you had to, accumulate for a certain amount of time before you got to the point where it was just perfect. And now we're at that point where it's just perfect. And, you can see it just how these little jumps that we're having, they're holding, they're locked in. And I think the next level is coming real quick. I think it's coming really quick. So, I mean, if you haven't got in yet, today, this is a good time. And like I said, even the people that are joining now, I think they've been sidelined for a long time watching, and they're really interested as well. And I think they're locked in. So I think we could, I think this is a good time if you're interested in getting involved, where your money's going to be in safe hands. And not to mention, I mean, we got the fattest LP on the market. I mean, Shina's in a $11 million market cap with $2 million in LP. You don't see that, especially not in any of these new coins. Your price impact when you're a whale on some of those bigger coins is 30-40% at this point. Shina, you're in good hands. So I call it the whale token.
Love it. Riz, Dan, thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Thank you, man.
Been a pleasure. Everyone, if you're listening to this on Spotify, please head over to YouTube. On YouTube, we're going to have all of Shina Inu's contact info, the X account, the website, and a link to the Telegram. Also, you will have a link to Late Night on Bases account on X. If you haven't done so already, just literally like and subscribe. It's free, helps me grow the channel and produce banger content on the regular. Until next time, everyone, take care.